So let's get now to those explosive revelations about the final days of the former president's term. This is from a new book by two Washington Post reporters, Carol Leonnig and Philip Rucker. It's called I Alone Can Fix It, and CNN's Jamie Gangel obtained some of the excerpts that we're about to discuss.
One of the most shocking is that after President Trump lost the election, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, feared the former president might attempt a coup. Milley told his deputies, quote, "They may try, but they're not going to effing succeed. You can't do this without the military. You can't do this without the CIA and the FBI. We're the guys with the guns." CNN special correspondent Jamie Gangel is here. Jamie, incredible work getting these excerpts. They are bombshells. They're what so many millions of people suspected on some level was happening behind the scenes, but now we know more, in more detail, of what's happening.
Correct. And let's just remember, General Milley is still chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He knew this book was coming out, and he knew that it would be made public. He is quoted extensively throughout the book.
That's such a great point, and he hasn't refuted anything.
No, he
yet.
has not.
Okay, let's get to Mike Pence's role.
Right.
Here is one of the excerpts. Pence again explained the legal limits on his authority as vice president and said he planned to perform his ceremonial duty as prescribed by the Constitution. This is on January 6th.
Right.
But Trump showed him no mercy. "You don't have the courage to make a hard decision," he told Pence. So I guess that what is new to me is that they were having, heated conversations about what Pence was going to have to do.
So Carol Leonnig and Philip Rucker are two Pulitzer Prize winning reporters. What I see as I read through I Alone Can Fix It is they have the quotes. We knew that Donald Trump was putting pressure on Mike Pence, but in this passage, you see, he says to him, "You don't have the courage." You can hear Trump saying that, and then it goes on that Mark Meadows and Ivanka Trump try to get Trump to go along with this. No, Trump had given Pence instructions and was hell-bent on getting him to do it. So I think you really see here just how much pressure Pence was under.
Yeah, and we were hearing elements of this, but to get this narrative now with the quotes is really stunning. Some of the elements we're going to discuss, you got exclusively. Some of these have been published in the Washington Post in just the last couple of hours. I want to go to this moment of, it gets to the question of what did the president know and when did he know it? That, of course, famous question. At the White House, Trump was back in his private dining room watching everything unfold on television. The president was riveted. His supporters had heeded his call to march on the Capitol with pride and boldness. For Trump, there was no more beautiful sight than the thousands of energetic people waving Trump flags, wearing red MAGA caps, and fighting to keep him in power. He thought, this is cool. He was happy, recalled one aide who was with Trump that afternoon. Then when it turned violent, he thought, oh, crap. And I think for this, it gets to, you'll remember that Leader McCarthy said that the president didn't know about any of the violence until he called. He was clearly watching it on television.
Absolutely. And what they establish here is a tick-tock of events, minute by minute, through January 6th. Clearly, Donald Trump knew exactly what was going on almost immediately. Also, for context, I was told that what this aide was describing when Donald Trump said, oh, crap, was not, oh, crap, people are going to get hurt. It was, oh, crap, this is going to look bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about Ivanka Trump's role, because I need your help deciphering here.
Help us, Jamie.
I need your help. If this is reputational rehab, if this is revisionist history, or what we learn here in this book. Here's just a portion. Just when Ivanka Trump thought she had made headway and returned upstairs, this is after she'd been summoned to try to quell the unrest, the feelings that her father was having on January 6th and get him to call off the crowd, okay? Just when Ivanka Trump thought she had made headway and returned upstairs, Meadows would call her to say that the president still needed more persuading. I need you to come back down here, Meadows would tell her. We've got to get this under control. He would clear the room of other aides and say, I only want Ivanka, myself, and the president in here. This cycle repeated itself several times that afternoon. As another presidential advisor said, Ivanka was described to me like a stable pony. When the racehorse gets too agitated, you bring the stable pony in to calm him down. Obviously, there are only a few people who could have told the reporters this. So what are we to make of Ivanka's role?
Not only are there only a few people, but throughout the book, If there is a controversial quote or scene, it is very clear that these two authors went to that person and said, is this true or not? Mike Pompeo denies a quote through a closed source. There's no denial of that here, so we have to assume Ivanka Trump was aware of how this scenario
depicted
correct.
Like this.
If I had to guess, this comes from Ivanka Trump. I do
Seems
not
like it,
I
yes.
do not know that. So let's talk about whether you can get your reputation back. We talked earlier about Mark Milley. He had the very controversial moment in Lafayette Park where he came out with the president in that bizarre scene. He apologized for that immediately. He has said it was wrong. Is part of his speaking to these reporters to repair his reputation? Yeah, maybe. But what he has said in this book is so extraordinary, it goes beyond repairing his reputation. I am not sure that Ivanka Trump can repair her reputation even with this. Just for context, that particular scene I think is critical because we had heard that Mark Meadows couldn't convince Donald Trump to call it off. What this scene shows is this sort of shuttle diplomacy where Mark Meadows keeps bringing Ivanka in over and over again.
By the way, she didn't convince him either.
No.
Five people were killed.
Correct.
She didn't convince him
Correct.
either.
And it's not clear. Hours go by, and it's not clear from the excerpts we have what finally convinced him. Some of our reporting has indicated that the lawyers came in, that the White House counsel came in and said, you are going to be responsible, perhaps criminally, for people getting hurt and killed. And it's my understanding that that may have been the reason he finally turned around.
One more, Jamie, and this also is during the height of the violence at the Capitol and the question of how to protect the vice president. Should he stay there at the Capitol and should he leave? Let's go here to Goebbels, who is the head of the vice president's security detail, and the rest of his detail guided them down to a staircase to a secure subterranean area that rioters couldn't reach, where the vice president's armored limousine awaited. Goebbels asked Pence to get in one of the vehicles. We can hold here. Vice President says, I'm not getting in the car, Tim. I trust you, Tim, but you're not driving the car. If I get in that vehicle, you guys are taking off. I'm not getting in the car, which speaks, I think, primarily to the president wasn't sure the safety of the vice president wasn't sure of the safety of getting into this car, but also the image of the president leaving the Capitol as the insurrectionists were there, that potentially they had won. That would have been the image.
To me, this was breathtaking.
Yeah.
It was that Mike Pence thought that his Secret Service detail was going to take him away and he was not going to be able to do his duty. End of story, period. He was scared he wasn't going to be able to get back there.
Wow.
I mean, again, these excerpts just show you how close we came to it being even worse. It was horrible, but it could have been even worse.
Correct, absolutely.
Jamie, great reporting. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for sharing it with
Thank you,
us.
Jamie.
It's really fascinating to hear all of that.